Now coming in studying Tanakh with the Meshugginer Rebbe. That's me. We're going to look at the book of Koheles. Koheles belongs to the Kesuvim section of Tanakh. This is one of my absolute favoriteest books of Tanakh, and it will be a great pleasure to go through books of Tanakh, of this particular book in detail in this series of videos. I've also promised to study the book of Koheles in memory of a deceased young man in Kew Garden Hills, Queens, who died very tragically at a young age, and his family have arranged or tried to arrange for everybody for the entire Tanakh and the entire Gemara to be learned in memory, his memory, in time for the first yard side. So this video is dedicated to this video and the learning of Koheles is dedicated in memory of Meyer ben Mordechai Ezriel, Meyer Weiss, for the time for his yahrzeit because of his untimely passing at a young age. So let's talk about the background of the book of Koheles. In English, the book of Koheles is called Ecclesiastes, that which belongs to the church. Koheles in Hebrew is a title for a person. It means something like the preacher, the one who addresses the assembly. Blake says the phone. What place in Tanakh does Koheles have? Koheles lives in the Kesuvim section of Tanakh. It's one of the 5 Megillos. It is traditionally, at least in the Ashkenazi tradition, read on Shabbos Chol Hamoed Sukkos or on Shmini Atzeres if there is no Shabbos Chol Hamoed in Sukkos. And then Shmini Atzeres, if there's no Shabbos Chol Hamoed on Sukkos, Shmini Atzeres will be on Shabbos. Koheles is a very philosophical book, and it deals with some very heavy, weighty subject matters. And so the question is, why is such a meaty book read on Sukkos, which is Zman Simchasenu, Chag in the Gemara. Chag, Sukkos is the ultimate holiday in the Gemara. It was just referred to as Chag, the holiday, and it is a time of great rejoicing. Chag. During the time of the temple, this was the most festive of all of the holidays. So why do we read such a crunchy book on a very festive holiday? We should read something fun on a festive holiday. And the answer is because Sukkot is such a festive holiday, it's easy to get carried away with your rejoicing and stop rejoicing for the sake of heaven and start rejoicing for the sake of rejoicing itself. And while we are allowed to rejoice, we're allowed to have a good time. And it says in the Torah, you should rejoice on your holidays, but it also says before Hashem your God. So you are to be reminded that all of the good things in the world come from God, and all your rejoicing should be for the sake of heaven. And while you're allowed to have a good time and have a nice party, you have to recall always that your place in the world, and that this all comes from Hashem. And so therefore we read this very philosophical book about the relationship between man and God, among many other things, on Sukkos, to make sure that we remember and are reminded not to give away into hedonism, that our rejoicing should be enjoyable, pleasurable, but to not devolve into hedonism and wanton frivolity. And the book of Koheles is anything but frivolity. And it's a very interesting, very detailed book. There are many, many, many interpretations of the Sefer Koheles. And the Gemara says that they wanted debated whether they should canonize Koheles or they should suppress it, because it appears to be in some ways heretical or shocking or divergent from what should be in a sacred book. And the end of the time, because at the end of the book it says that the primary thing is to serve God properly, they decided to allow it to remain placed in the Torah. Which is a good thing because it is a solid book and one that pays off and deserves to be studied in great detail. So let's jump right into the first chapter. Divrei Koheles ben David Melech b'Yerushalayim Havel Havalim Amar Koheles Havel Havalim HaKol Hevel. First two psukim. These are the words of Koheles, son of David, king in Jerusalem. That's the first verse. Who is Koheles, son of David, king in Jerusalem? David had only one son. He had many sons. Only one of his sons became king in Jerusalem, and that is King Solomon, Shlomo Melech. Traditionally, therefore, the book of Koheles is considered to have been authored by Shlomo HaMelech. I have no particular reasons to argue with this particular point, and we will therefore follow the traditional interpretation and assume that this is written by King Solomon, son of David, who was king in Jerusalem. Koheles. What does Koheles mean? Koheles' title. It's not a name. And as I said, it comes from the word kahal, congregation, and it apparently means something like one who speaks to the congregation, one who speaks to the assembly. So we should perhaps, rather than transliterate the name as Koheles, perhaps we might say, these are the words of the preacher, or he who addresses the assembly, was the king of Jerusalem. So there's other explanations for what title name Koheles means and why Shlomo Melech took it. The Gemara indicates that Koheles, there are the three books written by King Solomon attributed to him. That's Koheles, Shir Hashirim, Mishlei, and Koheles, the Song of Songs, Proverbs, and Koheles. Shir Hashirim, which is a love poem of incredible vividness, was written by King Solomon in his youth, before Proverbs were written in his middle age, and Koheles was in his old age when he was disillusioned and burned out. And disillusioned and burned out goes very well with the second pasuk. Havel havalim amar Koheles, Havel havalim hakol hevel. Very famous statement. Futility of futilities, says Koheles. Futility of futilities, all is futile. What is Havel havalim? There are many ways we can translate the word Havel. Havel havalim is an emphatic construction. Hebrew indicates emphasis, at least especially biblical Hebrew indicates emphasis by reduplication of the words, doubling. And so this is emphatic Havel, whatever Havel is. So let us, Havel comes from word root that means vapor or fog, or a breath, and fleeting. So perhaps we could interpret Havel havalim, it's a fleeting breath or a faint wispy vapor. What he's saying, he says, all is vapor in the breeze. Life, in the end, is just a passing breeze, in breath that goes in and out and is gone. And we will see that the traditional translations of futility or vanity is not actually accurate, because Koheles in the end concludes that life is far from futile and far from empty and far from vanity, but fleeting like a fleeing breath. Breath lasts only an instant, and then it's gone. Fogs, vapors. In the morning, where I live in the mountains, you ride on the roads, and there are fogs in the valleys between the hills. And by the time the sun comes up all the way, it's gone. Fog, vapor, it's transient, it's nothing, it's insubstantial. And Koheles, I believe, concludes, far from life being futile, life is not futile at all, but it is fleeting. Let's go on. Ma yisrin la'adam b'chol amalo she'imal tachas hashamash. For what benefit, for what gain does a person work in all of his toilings that he works under the sun? What profit is there for man with all the work that he does under the sun? This is a rhetorical question. Koheles will have an answer to this question. Beneath the sun, beautiful phrasing for indicating this world. Everything that we know of in this world is underneath the sun. Classical Mepharshim take this as an unstated counterpoint that everything under the sun is fleeting and temporary, and then that implies that what is over the sun, this is in the spiritual realm, is of value and of permanence. And that we can say as religious Jewish people is absolutely true. Our world is temporary and imperfect. The world of the heavens, God's world, so to speak, is where the source of value and meaning and purpose that is eternal in our world. And so this metaphor of under the sun, the wonderful saying for this. But we'll get to Koheles' answer to for what purpose and profit is does man toil away under the sun. But first we have some more lamentations to do. Dor holech v'dor vav v'haaretz olam omedes. Generations come and generations go, and the world endures forever. The earth abides, as the classical King James translation go. All is the same. Life continues. It goes on. This generation and the next. Only the details change. World continues turning as it was. V'zarach hashemesh v'ahas shemesh ve'al makomo sho'ef zoreach hu sham. The sun rises and the sun sets, and into its place it glides back to where it begins. Holech el daram v'sovev el safon, sovev holech haruach v'al sivisav shav haruach. It goes to the south and it turns to the north. Going around and around goes the winds, and on its rounds the winds return. Kol nechalim holchim el hayam v'ayam enenu maleh el makom she'anachalim holchim sham heim shavim lelechas. All the rivers flow into the sea, but the sea is never filled. To the place from which they flow, the streams flow back again. This is a description of the cycle of life, the cycle of nature. This is the world. The sun rises and the sun sets every day. It rises to the north, it rises to the south, but it always returns back to its place after a year. This is a procession, this is a daily progress of the sun across the sky. The winds blow, and yet they never run out, and they come back. All the rivers continue to flow into the sea, but the water cycle never stops. The ocean never fills up. The water flows back, eventually, back to where the rivers, and the cycle begins again. Life, it says in our world, is cyclic and unchanging. Steady state. Kol hadvarim yigayim lo game lo yuchal ish ledaber lo sispa ayin leros v'lo simale ozen mishomea. All such things are tiring. No man can ever state them. Eye has never has enough of seeing, nor the ear of hearing. Everything is tiresome. Can never speak to them. No one person can ever fully comprehend the complexity and immensity of nature. But yet at the same time, you can never stop processing your senses. You always see and you always hear and you always want to think and think and think and think, but you can never know it all, and you can never understand it all completely. Very grim outlook. Masha haya hushiyeh umasha nase hushiyeh vein kol chadash tachas hashemesh. What will be, and what has happened, and there is nothing new under the sun. Yesh davar sheyomar ra'eh ze chadash hu kvar haya lolam emasher haya milefanenu. Sometimes there will come along a thing that people will say, behold, look at this. This is new. But it has happened in worlds past and ages that went before us. Ein zichron l'rishonim v'gam la'achronim sheyu lo yiyeh lahem zichron im sheyu la'achrona. The early ones are not remembered, and those who will come later will be no more remembered than those who came before them. The cycles of life go on and on and on, and nothing in the world stands alone new. Everything is built on what came before it, and so there is no truly new ideas. Everything is a development of that which came before. And those who came in the past are eventually forgotten, and those who live now will too eventually be forgotten in their time. The only thing that stands is your memory, and when people forget you, you are gone. And do not think that you will be so special that you will be remembered when myriads of those people who came before you are not. It's a statement telling you to be humble and to appreciate what you have, because you will be forgotten. It's grim. Is this? It's a statement of the memory of a person exists so long as only as people keep it alive. And if your memory in this world dies, then you are truly gone. Ani Koheles Haisi Melech al Yisrael b'Yerushalayim. I am Koheles. I was king over to Israel in Jerusalem. V'nasati es libi lidrosh lasur b'chachma al kol asher nasa tachas hashamayim. Hu inyan ra nasan elokim l'vnei adam anos bo. I set my mind to study and probe with wisdom all that is underneath the sun. And this is a sad business which God has set for man to be involved with, to study with, to concern with, to have business with. Koheles decided that he wanted to understand it all. He wanted to use his mind to understand everything, and his wisdom to do that. And God has set an impossible task for you if you want to understand. You want to learn, you want to know, but there is no end to it, and you can never understand everything. And Koheles is lamenting the fact that he was unable to understand everything. Ra'isi es kol hamasim shenasu tachas hashamayim v'nei kol hevel u'rus ruach. I saw all that happens underneath the sun, and behold, all of it is hevel and ru'us ruach, chasing the wind, vapors and chasing the wind. This phrase ru'us ruach comes up over and over and over again. Chasing the wind. You can't catch the wind. There is no substance for wind. Yes, we know it's air and molecules now, but what good is running after the wind? It's nothing. It's breeze, it's force, it's emptiness, it's a bunch of gas. Vapor and chasing the wind. It's an example of futile process trying to catch the wind. Ma'us v'lo yuchal liskon. V'chesron lo yuchal himanos. It's a twisted thing that can't be straightened out. An absence that cannot be filled. These are all the things. It says studying wisdom and trying to understand it all is futile pursuit of wind. It is a thing that is twisted and can't be straightened out. It's an emptiness that cannot be filled. If your life is to understand it all and to have it all, you can't. It's impossible. Dibarti ani im libi lemor. Ani hine higdalti v'hosafti v'chachma al kol asher haya lefanai al Yerushalayim v'libi ra harbe chachma v'das. And I said to myself, here I am, greater, more powerful, richer, wiser than all who came before me and ruled over Jerusalem. And I have turned my mind greatly to wisdom and understanding. Esna libi l'das chachma das halelos v'sichlus yadati shegam zehu rayon ruach. I set myself to evaluate all wisdom and appraise madness and folly. And I learned that this too is the pursuit of the wind. Ki berov chachma rav kas v'yosif das yosif machumechal chov. And because as wisdom grows, so does vexation or anger. And to increase your learning is to increase your tsar, your heartache, your pain. Koheles says, I am wealthy, I have money, I have everything. I am going to try to understand it all. And he went to evaluate what is wise and what is foolish, what is sane and what is insane, what is wisdom and what is learning. And he learned that you can't. That there is no way that you can ever completely understand and you can fill your share of wisdom and learning. And he found, rather than bringing him satisfaction, increasing his wisdom only brought him vexation, and increasing his learning, increasing his pain. There is something to be said for this, that being fat, happy, and dumb is peaceful. if you do not think and you do not concern yourself with anything, most of the time you don't worry about stuff. You don't think about it. You don't care about it. You're nothing. It's nothing. And so there is a price to pay for wisdom, for understanding. And the price to pay, we'll see later on, is that you understand that you can't understand, and that you can't know, and that there are questions you can't answer, and that there are things you cannot solve. And this can pain you, and this can be a terrible thing. And this can be vexation and heartache and rayon ruach, and chasing the wind. And so Koheles is set up, and this is the end of the first parak, and we'll end with this, that he is set out initially to understand the whole world and everything in it, and the meaning of life and the purpose of everything, and he wants to understand it all. He wants to learn it all. He wants to know it all, because he's satisfied, he's got wealth and power, and he wants to understand the meaning of everything, and he found that he could not. And this is King Solomon, who is said to be the wisest of all men to live, and he could not understand it, and this caused him great pain. So, very, very, very grim, serious first chapter here. And wisdom, pursuing wisdom and understanding has brought him only pain and only problems. But we'll see later on that this is not exactly the case. Koheles talks almost in a stream of consciousness. So he's telling us now that it seems he's upset that he can't understand it, and he can't acknowledge it, and it pains him that he can't understand and everything, and he can't learn everything, and that he doesn't understand why the cycle of life continues. What we'll see, that there is meaning hidden in it, and there is purpose hidden in it. And with that, we will conclude. Until next time, we'll then pick up with Parak Beis chapter 2. Good night.